There we are. There we are. Maybe if no. Okay. Well, it's a good thing I tested that right now. Stream Deck doesn't want to work at all. Not a big deal though. I'll get that fixed. Maybe. Quit Stream Deck. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Cashinium, and I'm going to be your host this Sunday on a session I like to call You Are Loved. And we're going to get rocking and rolling here shortly. If it will actually... No? If I could get the app working, that would be great. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Am I just not seeing it? Oh, you know what? It's probably under Elgato. I literally am blind. It's all right, though. We'll get it going. Slowly but surely. There it is. Now it's connected. We should be good to go. Welcome back to my little corner on Twitch. My name is Cashinium. I'm going to be your host here today in a little session I like to call You Are Loved. Been doing it here for a couple months now. I think it's been a couple months. Long enough that it's become a regular thing. Let me get my mic adjusted because that's part of it. Very important. Mic doesn't want to actually cooperate with me. It's important that it's in the right position so I don't feel like I'm having to get too close for you to hear me properly. But yeah, started this a couple months ago. Felt called and compelled to go live every Sunday. Welcome back, Lieutenant Dan. It's good to see you, brother. But yeah, going live every Sunday just so that I can be here for people. I'm not sure to the fullest capacity of what that looks like. But I do believe everyone is loved and is valued far more than they ever realize. So this is the way that I feel like I can communicate that to people. Best way that I can right now, given the tools that I have. And today we're going to be picking back up on 1,000 gifts. We left off in chapter 2. And we're going to be picking up, we finished chapter 2, yes, last Sunday. And we're going to be picking right back up today. Looking out for the community. Nice. Magic Shoot, dude, it's good to see you, brother. Dude, you haven't even seen any of these. But yeah, I go live every Sunday. How are you? By the way, go live every Sunday doing these sessions that are just chatting. Just me talking. We've worked through part of the Bible. We worked through part of the book High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard, and we're still going to keep doing part of that exercise every Sunday. And right now, I feel like this is the book I'm supposed to be reading. I love narrating, and this book is really like speaks to people that I know, or stories that I've heard lately from different people. Yo, Jay-Z, what's up, brother? Making a little bit of an announcement. Sorry, there's just leaking that. You just got done with your 4 hours of working out, dude. That's an intense workout. If that's what your dad is requiring, I would recommend Googling the benefit of doing a short focus workout every day versus 4 hours. I hope that's not daily. That's a lot, man. I don't think that's like, unless you plan on being a bodybuilder, I don't think you should be in the gym that much. That's just me. That's just me. We're gonna jump right into reading here. I'll try to respond as best I can. Oh, not reading. There we go. Yes, reading. You just finished a horror book called Soon that I got as a gift. Who's the author of that? Magic Shoot, was it good? But yeah, we're on chapter 3 here, guys. And once I get going, I usually try to take breaks. Like there's little sections in the book that have natural breaks, but in between that, you probably won't see me respond to comments very quickly. And that's just to make sure that the audio flows and that I don't get lost in my spots either. Yo, Studakiss is back in the chat. Let's go. Hype, hype, hype. How you doing, Studa? It's good to see you, brother. Oh, no, it's not daily. Okay. Lois Murphy, huh? Soon. I have not been somebody that's read much horror ever. Not that I'm opposed to it. I feel like I have a really vivid imagination. And I feel like reading horror would plant images in my mind from my own creativity that I don't necessarily need to fill my brain with. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not going to go out of my way, personally, to pick that as a genre. Your dad's having you do it because he does it a lot, and I just love doing it. It's actually satisfying. Well, yeah, working out is very satisfying. But I'm not knocking that it's good for you at all. I highly recommend it. However, I don't know that 4-hour session is as beneficial as doing like an hour and a half session or something. Hold on, I'm steeping my tea here, guys, and we're gonna get into this book. Like a, hour and a half session, 90-minute focus session. Give your body time to recover. Oh, that's hot. Trying to. I didn't bring a spoon into my bedroom and wanted to pull the tea bag out, so I used my finger, and it was hot. Your dad's, yeah. I just read that. You guys know. If you didn't see the quote, this desktop wallpaper magic shoot is available for download in the Discord. For those of you that don't know, I make one of these every Monday. Up in the Discord in the free download section, make a desktop and mobile version. Try to give you a little extra boost throughout the week. This week's quote was, "Every mountaintop is within reach if you just keep climbing." And then tomorrow we'll get a new one. I haven't decided what it's going to be yet. All right, guys. Tea's ready. We got the introductions out of the way. How is my day, by the way? Dude, it's been good. Marcus and I got some games in. It was fun. Managed to get a win with Brandon when he joined in later. We played with Brandon and Scout Girl. Got some good games in. I think it was just the one win, actually. It was kind of wild, but it was good. Got a good night's sleep. Got to bed at a semi-decent time for the first time in a while. The mountaintop is not as important than the climb. That is a good point that you make, Lieutenant Dan. It's important. It's important to own the journey as you go your way up. I don't know why I slip into that accent sometimes when my tongue gets caught up in my mouth. I honestly don't know. I'm not actually slipping into the accent other than that one word. It's important. I said it's important. But anyways, it's important to appreciate the journey as you're going up, 100%. But I think the mountain top is still also important. But if you're not enjoying the journey up to the top, taking time to smell the roses, taking time to appreciate all the little details and all the little finer, minute joys in life, then by the time you get to the top, you're gonna be like, whoa, you're not gonna appreciate it at all. Because you're gonna have lost sight of what it even was that motivated you to go for that mountaintop in the first place, I think. All right, guys. Chapter 3, First Flight. And we are reading 1,000 Gifts by New York Times bestseller Anne Voskamp. Starts with a quote by Sarah Ban Breathnach. How it looks like it's pronounced. We do spend most of our time climbing, and it's good to appreciate that time. Absolutely. All right, this quote by Sarah Ban Breathnach. Gratitude bestows reverence, allowing us to encounter everyday epiphanies. Hold on. When the music gets a little too intense, I'm going to have to skip through it. All right. Gratitude bestows reverence, allowing us to encounter everyday epiphanies. Those transcendent moments of awe that change forever how we experience life and the world. It's all about climbing up that hill. That is life, right? That is life. But I feel like you should have multiple mountaintops that you can reach. Like if you only have a goal that is the mountaintop, something that you are only going to appreciate the journey towards, then that's great. 100%. I think there should be goals that are really lofty. But I also think it's good to have goals that you can celebrate the victories of as well. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Man, I don't know. That's not just me. But I think it's important that you have small victories, huge victories, and continue on enjoying the journey toward the top, the very top, the apex of your life, your fullest life. The window in the den is open wide. The carved loon and the mallard sitting still on the sill, the heartwood of a tree, hewn into a longing wing. In a friend's kitchen, I work too, cutting cucumbers. Hold on, turn the music a little down for me. It's a little too loud for me. It's drifting in on July, and I can hear it up the riverside. Peals of child laughter. This stream running smooth, and the seedy cucumber discs fall to the china plate. Their own green platters, full of summer. She has a vase by the sink. Tall with the foxglove spires, their full pink lips flecked with drops of scarlet. And I can just see how she would have cut each stalk careful and carried it in here. Beauty for the women come to the tap for water. Beauty for the women come to the tap for water. How the sentence is written. A medicinal bloom for heart failure. I remember reading that of foxgloves, a heart strengthener. Did she think of that when she cut them? Thinking of me coming. The men's voices wander in the open window too. With the smoke and the sizzling, their broad backs hanging over flame and the grill all dripping. I'm hungry. My blade slices rings of the green. She stands at the stove, stirring a sauce, us parents cooking for the broods we have born. And I almost don't hear her when she says it. You've changed. She turns to me, and I turn to catch the word. I have? She caught me off guard. I'm thick-tongued, and the cheeks flame, and I reach for the pitcher to pour the cups full and distract from her catching me trying to take wing. Yes, you've changed. Shelley sets her pot on a trivet, her eyes on me, and I can feel them, and I just set out the glasses. I don't say it, but I'm thinking she may be right, and I had felt it for months. The maturing, the swelling, the something different that had begun to happen. But I had thought the recreation was still embryonic, a bud of hope. I hadn't thought it had fully bloomed. I hadn't thought that anyone could see the light in the eyes. It's that list you've been writing, isn't it? She clatters down bowls. I concentrate on pouring the water steady into each empty cup. A fly cuts the surface of one full glass. I can see it. The wounding of water. Yes. There. A moment, and yes. It's the list. The wound of the water smooths, fades, heals. I may have always known that change takes real intentionality. Like a woman bent over her garden beds every day with a spade and the determined will to grow up something good to strengthen the heart. I may even have known that change requires more than merely thinking the warm and fuzzy thoughts about a door and a way through and that Greek word, Eucharistio, holding the mystery to the full life and ever after. But none of that at all meant that I knew what to do. How in the world, for the sake of my soul, do I learn to practically pick up Eucharistio, the word I had underlined as a firm foundation to lay down under all of my days? How in the world, for the sake of my joy, do I learn to use Eucharistio to overcome my one ugly and self-destructive habit of ingratitude? That habit that causes both my cosmic and daily fall, with the saving habit of gratitude that would lead me back to deep God communion. To live at all, I needed to know. I had read that too, written by a wise man of old, Jean-Pierre de Caussade. When one is thirsty, one quenches one's thirst by drinking, not by reading books which treat of this condition. If we are dying of thirst, passively reading books about water quenches little. The only way to quench the parched mouth is to close the book and dip the hand into water and bring it to the lips. If we thirst, we'll have to drink. I would have to do something. But I hadn't known at all the day I laid aside the books about Eucharistio and picked up I hadn't known at all the day I had laid aside the books about Eucharistio and picked up a pen to begin that list that I was really taking down, swallowing, the first real drink and how I'd transform. Or that transformation would be so visible. It was a dare, like a love dare of sorts. And I take it one clear November morning, not at all unlike that long ago November morning, that her blood soaked the ground, and I can never forget. It is the beginning of list season. Lists of holiday menus, lists of homemade projects, lists of have-to-buys. They're scattered and stacked across the counter, around my desk. When a friend's dashed off digital line blinks up on my screen, she dares me and I don't even blink. Could I write a list of 1,000 things I love? I read her line again, as in, begin another list? To name 1,000 blessings, 1,000 gifts. Is that what she means? Sure, whatever. It's not like I thought that this is the carving, the flying, the healing of my wounds. Sometimes you don't know when you're taking the first step through a door until you're already inside. I grab a scrap paper out of the ash-woven basket at the end of the counter, one with a child's drawing of St. Patrick, I think, headed to Ireland because he's in a boat and those really do look like shamrocks on his sleeve, and I flip it over. Across the backside, on a whim, a dare, I scratch it down. Gift list. I begin the list. Not of gifts I want, but of gifts I already have. 1. Morning shadows across the old floors. 2. Jam piled high on the toast. 3. Cry of blue jay from high in the spruce. That is the beginning, and I begin to smile. I can't believe how I smile. I mean, they're just the common things, and maybe I don't even know they are gifts really until I write them down. And that is really what they look like. Gifts he bestows. Is writing it down. It is sort of like unwrapping love. It might fit like a glove. 16. Leafy life scent of the florist shop. 17. The creak of her old knees. 18. Wind flying through cold, wild, in hair. Wind flying cold, wild, in hair. And when the house sleeps all heavy and only the dog barks crazy out on the lawn up at the... And when the house sleeps all heavy and only the dog barks crazy out on the lawn up at the cold round moon, I look down at day one of counting all the way up to 1,000 gifts. I run my hands across the page. I see again frames of the day, a life album in miniature. Writing the list, it makes me feel happy all day. I can hardly believe how it does that. That running stream of consciousness, river, I drink from it and I'm quenched in. A surging stream of grace, and it's wild how it sweeps me away. And I add one more to the list. To feel it all again, I can't understand why it does that. And yet, too, The list, it feels foreign, strange, long. I am woman who speaks but one language, the language of the fall, discontentment, and self-condemnation. The critical eye and the never satisfied. And this wasn't this. I fingered to the corner of the page, neatly numbered. Well, if all these were gifts that God gives, then wasn't my writing down the list like receiving? Like taking with thanks? Way. And he took bread, gave thanks, and broke it, and gave it to them. Gave thanks. This crazy dare gift list, it's language lessons in Eucharistio. For real? But Eucharistio, it's the word Jesus whispered when death prowled close and his anguish trickled down bloody. He took the bread, even the bread of death, and gave thanks. I looked down at my list. This thanks that I'm doing, it seems so crude, trivial. If this list is the learning of the language of Eucharistio, this feels like guttural groanings. But perhaps the full of grace vocabulary begins haltingly, simply, like a child, thankful for the childlike. But doesn't the kingdom of heaven belong to such as these? At first, it's the dare that keeps me going. That and how happy it makes me. Giddy. This list writing of all that is good and pure and lovely and beautiful. But what keeps me going is what I read in the Bible laying open on my prayer bench, looking out the window to the snow fort. The fort with a door in the wall. It's Paul writing the letter to the Philippines. I read the 4th chapter. I almost don't see it, but Paul repeats it twice in only 2 sentences, so I don't miss it. I have learned how to be content with whatever I have. I know how to live on almost nothing, or with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it is with a full stomach or empty, with plenty or little. Philippians 4:11, 12. I read it many times, groping for the latch. There it is, the secret to living full, living joy in every situation. A full life of Eucharistio. Twice, Paul whispers it. I have learned. I would have to learn Eucharistio. Learn Eucharistio. Learn it to live fully. Learn it like I know my skin, my face, the words on the end of my tongue. Like I know my name, my own name. Learn how to be thankful, whether empty or full. Could the list teach me even that hard language over time? Gratitude in the midst of death and divorce and debt? That's the language I've got to learn to speak, because that's the kind of life I'm living, the kind I have to solve. If living Eucharistio is the key to unlocking the mystery of life, this I want. I want the hunt, the long sleuth, the careful piecing together, to learn how to be grateful and happy, whether hands full or hands empty. This is a secret worth spending a life of learning, even if it takes a Rosetta Stone of decades. I wake the next morning and I grip my pen, ink, to crack the code. Mr. Klumpenhauer slides the mail into the clunky mailbox at the end of the lane. The one I painted Martha Stewart's burnt maple syrup, but it really is more barn red. I stand at the window and I hold the pen. I write it down in my journal. 22. Mail in the mailbox. And when my grandma's bona fide wood-handled pressure cooker from the 50s, full with the potatoes, bobbles the steam all dancy over kitchen windows come noon, I hold the pen and I write it down clear. 23. Grandma's pressure pot, still dancing. Thanks is what multiplies the joy and makes any life large, and I hunger for it. And when I'm in the produce section of Zur's Market looking for a just right clump of bananas, and I look over and I see an old man, all white whiskered and bent, looking for the just right card in the Hallmark aisle. I grab the journal from my bag and I hold my pen and I write it down wobbly. Old men looking for words just perfect. I know how this makes me feel. I think I'm beginning to know why, how Eucharistio always precedes the miracle, even joy in a supermarket. So, I can't say I'm surprised when I read the words of Martin Luther, author of those 95 theses, nailed to the door of the castle church in Wittenberg. But he did say, "If you want to change the world, pick up your pen." This does feel like my own reformation. All things wood and hard giving away to the sky, recording gifts to reform. I pick up a pen and write of the God gifts. All these things I had blithely and blindly brushed past before, and the list is my thanks. And Eucharistio is, I swear an oath, opening up the heights. I say it to John Piper. The things I am discovering, me with a hunt pen in hand, that moving the ink across the page opens up the eyes. That he may not understand how it sheds light, focuses its lens, but he only knows, quote, that there are eyes in pencils and in pens, end quote. Eyes in pencils and in pens. I hold the seeing pen, the one with eyes. Eyes that, in due time, might just decode the whole of Eucharistio. I am hard after it. Because the picking up of a pen isn't painful, and ink can be cheap medicine. And I might just live. I hold the pen. The cataract's clear. 37. Windmills droning in day's last breeze. 38. Wool sweaters with turtleneck collars. 39. Faint aroma of cattle and straw. Quote, a nail is driven out by another nail. Habit is overcome by habit. End quote. Erasmus said that, contemporary and admirer of Martin Luther. When I read this thought, I am surprised because I had never known, and I am sad for all that would have changed, if only I had. I looked down at the pen. This pen I keep wielding, one writing her way all the way to 1000. This pen, this is nothing less than the driving of nails, nails driving out my habits of discontent and driving in my habit of Eucharistio. I'm hammering in nails to pound out nails, ugly nails that Satan has pierced through the world, my heart. It starts to unfold, light in the dark, a door opening up. How all these years it's been utterly pointless to try to wrench out the spikes of discontent. Drinking a different type of tea, and there for a second made me feel really nauseous. I don't know. It's like a throat relaxer. It's actually really good for my throat. Keeps my throat relaxed while I'm reading, but it I don't know what actual spices are in there, except for I think there's a little bit of ginger. I don't know. It hit my stomach weird. I had to take a little break for the water. All right, guys. Let's see here. It has been utterly pointless to try to wrench out the spikes of discontent. Uh-oh. I know, right, Studa? I think I'm okay, though. I think I'm okay. It's really good for my throat. It's just, haven't had a huge breakfast, and I think that's why it's hitting me like that. I'll be all right. I think I should be all right. The sleep pen of gratitude. I hammer. 54. Moonlight on pillows. 55. Long lisped prayers. 56. Kisses in dark. I'll be all right, Studa. Thank you, man. And in a house sleeping, my heart rings. In the morning, my farmer husband comes in from the barn smelling of hogs. We lost another litter this morning. He washes at the sink, dries those rough mitt hands, dark and work worn, on a gingham towel draped over the cupboard. All of them stubborn. I smother a sigh with a smile, weak and resigned. He takes it regardless. Yeah, he too smiles soft, a hand letting go, and our eyes hold each other long. At the table, I pour milk over porridge. The farmer sinks down into the chair at the end, lowers his head in prayer. He thanks God for the sustenance. I pray for some of that too. I watch him eat. His 3-day stubble, it's brushed with flakes of cracked corn, remnants of what he fed to the sows this morning. The neck front of his t-shirt is stained with sweat. He works 4 hard hours in the barn, feeding hundreds of sows, and the sun is just now meandering up to the table. The glass of orange juice set out for him sits untouched. I know that he would never tell me. More cold sores on the inner wall of his mouth. I know what he would never tell me. More cold sores on the inner wall of his mouth. Stress. It's just that this thing, this sickness getting to sows, getting to him, has no name. It's been months. He sent feed samples to an international lab, run various water trials, called in the vet to run a multi-pronged battery of tests. Nothing. No diagnosis for this spike in late-term miscarriages. The loss of litter after still shriveled litter. I told Greg that I think it's not viral, it's environmental. He reaches for a second piece of toast. The farmer and the vet have known each other since grade school and the soccer fields and Good News Bible Club. He asked if we could reconfigure production data to analyze symptoms of parity. I had him in two vitamin C I hand him his two vitamin C tablets. Some strange patterns, and the thing that makes no sense, Sal's testing pregnant when they aren't. You can hear the swoosh, swoosh with the ultrasound, but she's not pregnant. Why? I'm getting good at feeble half smiles. I clear off the table and he reads scripture. We do this at the close of every meal. This morning, the book of Amos, the prophet herdsman with the name that means burden bearer. Late afternoon, the back door latches close and water runs at sink. That's always him, washing up first. I turn to the clock. He's in before dark? Before I get to the mudroom, he slips past me to the study. I think I'm on to something. He's always hunched over keyboard, tapping in some search. He's already hunched over keyboard, tapping in some search. I stay in the kitchen, chop up onions, wear smells of my own. I can hear the click of the cursor, him tracking a lead. Then sauté, then broth, then vegetables to the pot. The sun has turned off the lights, gone to bed. In the dark of the study, his face is lit by the blue web. Soup simmers low, flavors bubbling, and I slip in behind him in front of the screen. His shoulders are tight, man tense with the trail. I rub the muscles deliberate, deep. Anything? It looks like. He mutters the words more to himself than to me. This isn't, I don't know what it is. Everything's just lines up. My hands work circles into the sinews. I scan cyber words. The words make me wince. You think so? His cursor lingers at the end of a paragraph. Then he spins his chair around, pulls me down to his lap. I think that's it. That's the name. He murmurs the words near my ear. If that's... I point to the screen, to that name too long to pronounce. If that's really what's going on out in the barn, are you okay? I can feel his relief, the way it drains into me. Yes, I know. I don't like what it is and what it looks like. It's nearly impossible to eradicate, but you know what? I turn to his eyes, and the way he and I meet, touch. His hands around me tighten, us melded in hope. I'm strangely happy. It's true. No furrow plows his brow. His maritime eyes lay calm. God's good. Just naming it. When you don't have the name for something, you're haunted by shadows. It ages you. I press my lined forehead onto his. But when you can name something, my list of naming God gifts lies open on the counter. 117. Washing the warm eggs. 118. Crackle in fireplace. 119. Still warm cookies. Naming is Edenic. I name gifts and go back to the garden and God in the beginning, who first speaks a name and lets what is come into existence. This naming is how the first emptiness of space fills, the naming of light and land and sky. The first man's first task is to name. Adam completes creation with his maker through the act of naming creatures, releasing the land from chaos, from the teeming, indefinable. Wow, that word really struggled. All right, let's rewind. Adam completes creation with his maker through the act of naming creatures, releasing the land from chaos, from the teeming, indefinable mass. I am seeing it too in the journal in the face of the farmer. Naming offers the gift of recognition. When I name moments, string out laundry, and name prey, thank you, Lord, for bed sheets and billowing winds, for fluff of sparrow landing on line, sun winter warm, and one last leaf still hanging in the orchard. I am Adam, and I discover my meaning and God's, and to name is to learn the language of paradise. This naming works never ends for all the children of Adam. Naming to find an identity, our identity, God's. It's late, and in the lamplight, when the bones finally rest, I read and turn a page and run unexpected into these words. Now, in the Bible, a name reveals the very essence of a thing, or rather its essence as God's gift. To name a thing is to manifest the meaning and value God gave it, to know it as something from God, and to know its place and function within the cosmos created by God. To name a thing, in other words, is to bless God for it and in it. From whatever book she was reading. I read the words again. The heart palpitates hard. I don't hear the clock or the slosh hum of the dishwasher. All I can think, is that my whim writing of 1,000 gratitudes, the naming of the moments, this is truly a holy work. This naming really does call now a gift of God. I read again, to name a thing, quote, to name a thing is to manifest the meaning and value God gave it, end quote. I look at a day, a thing, an event in front of me, and it may look manna strange. What is it? But when I name it, the naming of it manifest its meaning. To know it comes from God. This is gift. Naming is to know a thing's function in the cosmos. To name is to solve mystery. In naming that which is right before me, that which I'd otherwise miss, the invisible becomes visible. That space that spans my inner emptiness fills in the naming. I name, and I know the face I face. God's. God is in the details. God is in the moment. God is in all that blurs by in a life, even hurts in a life. God. How can I not name? Naming these moments may change the ugly names I call myself. I put a pen to a journal to name solve, and I shake it when it runs dry, trace circles, and I coax out ink. Some days I coax hard. I'm tired. I don't know if it's the way the honey light runs down the walls and sticks to all the dust lying still on every surface, or if a fog films over the eyes, or if I am plain deceived. But that morning, the washing machine hums early and the kids, all 6, already studying long. I try taking up Eucharistio, because I have known it before, that joy miracle that might happen even now and here. 243. Clean sheets smelling like wind. 244. Hot oatmeal tasting like home. 245. Bare toes in early light. I do feel that, happy, when I name. But the porridge pot soaks in the sink and I don't know. How much is my tongue, tale of the heart, learning the real language of Eucharistio? I don't know. Then what is to come? I forget Eden and naming and nails, and it all just seems a bit juvenile, contrived. This is the whole of the secret learning. I confess, even after all that I've seen and tasted and touched, I do scoff. I yearn for the stuff of saints, the hard language, the fluency of thanksgiving and all, even the ugliest and most heartbreaking. I want the very fullest life. I wonder, even just an inkling, is this but a ridiculous experiment? Some days, ones with laundry and kids and dishes in sink, it is hard to think that the insulting ordinaries of this truly teaches the full mystery of the almost important Eucharistio. It's so frustratingly common, it's offensive. Driving nails into a life always is. I pick up the journal. Paul had twice said it, and I mustn't forget it. He said he had to learn. And learning requires practice, sometimes even mind-numbing practice. C.S. Lewis said it too, to a man looking for fullest life. If you think of this world as a place intended simply for our happiness, you find it quite intolerable. Think of it as a place of training and correction, and it's not so bad. It might even be good. So I, too, can be like our children and the everyday training, memorizing of the Latin paradigms with the practicing chants. Amo, amas, amat. The washing machine dings and I light. This is why I had never really learned the language of thanks in all things. Though pastors preached it, I still came home and griped on. I had never practiced until it became the second nature, the first skin. Practice is the hardest part of learning, and training is the essence of transformation. Practice, practice, practice. Hammer, hammer, hammer. This training might prove to be the hardest of my life. It might just save my life. Give me just a moment here, guys. Marcus knocked on my door. Let me see what he needs, and I'll be right back with you guys. All right. We're back. So, he just got a win in solos in Fortnite. He's very happy with that and wanted me to know. I'm very proud of him because that's not easy to do. And I think that might have been his first solo win. I have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it is. He has been practicing a lot and playing a lot lately. All right. Magic shoot, right? Just got his first solo win in Fortnite at 7 years old. Some days GG's Marcus, right? Oh yeah, 100%. Some days I pick up a camera and it's a hammer. The lens in my ink for cameras have sensor eyes and pixels record. I slide it into a pocket, a thin point and shoot, and find another way to chronicle. To force the lids open, another way to receive the moment with thanks. Reverential. When he comes in from the barn, the farmer finds me with my hammer in hand, leaning over a plate of cheese grated and sitting in sunlight. It is true, I do feel foolish. I mean, it's curls of mozzarella and cheddar piled high in a pond of golden day. I am changing the settings for macro, pulling in for a close-up frame. He's fed 650 sows with one strong arm this morning, flicked on a welder in welded steel. It is quite possible that the god glory of a ring of shredded cheese may be lost on him. It isn't. I like finding you just like this. He wraps one arm around my bowed middle, draws me close, and up into him, strong. Crazy like this? I blush silliness, and he brushes close with the 4-day stubble. He laughs. Perfect like this. He nods toward the cheese plate. You being happy in all these little things that God gives, it makes me very happy. Happy in all these little things that God gives. Ridiculously happy over slips of cheese that I am, and it's wild, and oh, I am the one who laughs. Me, changed, surprised by joy. Joy is the realest reality, the fullest life, and joy is always given, never grasped. God gives gifts, and I give thanks, and I unwrap the gift given. Joy. It is true, I never stopped wanting to learn the word Eucharistio for the deathbeds and dark skies and the prodigal son. But I accept this is the way to begin. All hard things come in due time and with practice. Yet now, wisps of cheese tell me gentle that this is the first secret step into Eucharistio's miracle. Gratitude for the seemingly insignificant. A seed. This plants the giant miracle. The miracle of Eucharistio, like the Last Supper, is in the eating of crumbs, the swallowing down one mouthful. Do not disdain the small. The whole of the life, even the hard, is made up of the minute parts, and if I miss the infinitesimal, I miss the whole. These are new language lessons, and I live them out. There is a way to live the big of giving thanks in all things. It is this, to give thanks in this one small thing. The moments will add up. This is very similar to what we kind of started talking about, Lieutenant Dan and Studicus, and how you have to appreciate the little things. It's interesting that the book is mirroring that in this chapter. That's really cool. I, too, had read it often, the oft-quoted verse. And, quote, and give thanks for everything to God the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. End quote. Ephesians 5:20. And I, too, would nod and say straight-faced, quote, I'm thankful for everything, end quote. But in this counting gifts to 1,000 more, I discover that slapping a sloppy brush of Thanksgiving over everything in my life leaves me deeply thankful for very few things in my life. A lifetime of sermons on thanks in all things, and the shelves sagging with books on these things, and I testify. Life-changing gratitude does not fasten to a life unless nailed through with one very specific nail at a time. Little nails and a steady hammer can rebuild a life. Eucharistio precedes the miracle. I snap a picture of cheese. I roll out the dough, sprinkle the ring cheese on round pizza thin. I feel how the sun lies down warm across hands and how thanks soaks through the pores. I think how God glory in a cheese ring might seem trifling, even offensive, to focus the lens of a heart on the minute in a world mangled and maimed and desperately empty. I know there is poor and hideous suffering, and I've seen the hungry and the guns that go to war. I have lived pain, and my life can tell. I only deepen the wound of the world when I neglect to give thanks for every light dappled through leaves, and the heavy perfume of wild roses in early July, and the song of crickets on humid nights, and the rivers that run, and the stars that rise, and the rain that falls, and all the good things that a good God gives. Why would the world need more anger, more outrage? How does it save the world to reject unabashed joy when it is joy that saves us? Rejecting joy to stand in solidarity with the suffering doesn't rescue the suffering. The converse does. The brave who focus on all things good and on all things beautiful and on all things true, even in the small, who give thanks for it and discover joy even in the here and now. They are the change agents who bring fullest light to all the world. When we lay the soil of our hard lives open to the rain of grace and let joy penetrate our cracked and dry places, let joy soak into our broken skin and deep crevices, life grows. How can this not be the best thing for the world? For us, the clouds open when we mouth thanks. This thanks for the minute. This is to say the prayer of the most blessed of women, about to participate in one of the most transformative events the world has ever known. Mary, with embryonic God himself filling her womb, exalts in quiet ways. Quote, "My soul doth magnify the Lord." End quote. Luke 1:46, King James Version. So might I, yes, and even here. Something always comes to fill the empty places. And when I give thanks for the seemingly microscopic, I make a place for God to grow within me. This makes me full, and I magnify him with thanksgiving. Psalm 69:30, King James Version. And God enters the world. What will a life magnify? The world's stress cracks, the grubbiness of a day, all that is wholly wrong and terribly busted, or God? Never in God's omnipotence and omniscience diminutive. Never is God's omnipotence and omniscience diminutive. God is not in need of magnifying by us so small, but the reverse. It's our lives that are little, and we have falsely inflated self. And in thanks we decrease, and the world returns right. I say thanks, and I swell with him. And I swell the world, and he stirs me, joy, all afoot. This, I think, this is the other side of prayer. This act of naming grace moments, this list of God's gifts, moves beyond the shopping list variety of prayer and into the other side of prayer, the interior of his throne room, the inner walls of his powerful, love-beating heart. The list is God's list, the pulse of his love that thrums on the other side of our prayers. And I see it now for what this really is, this dare to write down 1,000 things I love. It really is a dare to name all the ways that God loves me. The true love dare to move into his presence and to listen to his love unending and know the grace uncontainable. This is the vault of the miracles. The only thing that can change us. The world is this, all his love. I must never be deceived by the simplicity of Eucharistio and penning his love list. Cheese, sun, journal, naming, love. Here, it all feels startlingly hollow. And I breathe shallow. I should take the shoes off. Read to me with your soothing voice. Thanks for reading, Kat. It's good to see you back. Welcome and happy Sunday. I am Bel, and he is sure wind, and he moves, and I am rung. And I know it is for what it is. This is the other side where Daniel, man of prayer, lived. Change agent, mover and shaker, Daniel. Second to the king, Daniel. Sleeping on perfect peace in the den of the lions, Daniel. Daniel is a man of power prayer, not because he bends the stiff knees and makes petitions of the high throne 3 times daily. Rather, his prayers move kings and lion jaws, because Daniel, quote, prayed 3 times a day, just as he had always done, giving thanks to his God, end quote. Daniel 6:10, emphasis added. Hi, welcome back, Scouts Guild. You'll need to rewatch this one. Sorry, that's totally okay. Never need to apologize. In fact, that's totally okay with me. I read these for whatever. Whether you watch them live, you watch them later. I try to get them on YouTube so they stick around forever. I just feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So whether you watch them live or watch them later does not matter to me. But I do appreciate you dropping in. Same. I'll be watching Sunday streams a ton. All right. I like it. I'm glad you're here. You can find me everywhere as Cashinium. My name is the same everywhere. YouTube. Oh, do those none of those commands actually work? But it's literally youtube.com/Cashinium. Why is that? Are none of my commands working? There we go. But yeah, everywhere it's all Cashinium. 3 times a day, Daniel prayed thanksgiving for the everyday common, for the God love spilling forth from the God heart at the center of all. The only real prayers are the ones mouthed with thankful lips. Oh yeah, huge rebrand. Magic. I had to get a name that was consistent everywhere, man. You got carried away playing duos with Raccoon. That's awesome. Smash that sub button so hard, man. Broke my screen. I love it. The only real prayers are the ones mouthed with thankful lips, because gratitude ushers into the other side of prayer, into the heart of the God love, and all prayer to change the world, me, resides here in his love. Prayer, to have any power to change anything, must first speak thanks. Quote, in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Philippians 4:6, NIV. Quote, first, I tell you to pray for all people, asking God for what they need, and being thankful to him, end quote. 1 Timothy 2:1. Prayer without ceasing is only possible in a life of continual thanks. How did I ever think there was another way to enter into his courts but with thanksgiving? It's that one wondrous mound of grated cheese, wrung in the sunlight and captured in frame, that makes me think it. What the ancient wise woman Julian of Norwich stated. The highest form of prayer is to the goodness of God. God only desires that our soul cling to him with all of its strength, in particular, that it clings to his goodness. For of all the things our mind can think about God, it is thinking upon his goodness that pleases him most and brings the most profit to our soul. The gift list is thinking upon his goodness. And this pleases him most. And most profits my own soul, and I am only beginning to know it. If clinging to his goodness is the highest form of prayer, then seeing his goodness with a pen, with a shudder, with a word of thanks, these really are the most sacred acts conceivable, the ones anyone can conceive anywhere in the midst of anything. Eucharistio takes us into his love. I am struck and I long chime. Daniel is only a man of prayer because he is a man of thanks. And the only way to be a woman of prayer is to be a woman of thanks. And not sporadic general thanks, but 3 times a day. Eucharistio. What is the power of everyday thanksgiving prayer that shut the gaping mouths of the lions ravenous? Was it, was it the power of everyday thanksgiving prayer that shut the gaping mouths of the lions ravenous? Lions would count as hard Eucharistio. I slide a pizza out of oven, and cheese has melted over all and through all, and someday I could tell Shelley that life change comes when we receive life with thanks and ask for nothing to change. I cut the pizza rounds into slices, and the porcelain dove etched with the word peace, the one that hangs in hope by my corner kitchen window. She looks to soar into hard winds. That is chapter 3, my friends. I'm going to try to get through chapter 4. It depends on how long it is compared to the past few chapters. We got about an hour. These seem to be taking about an hour to read. But I'm enjoying it immensely. I think this is very well written, and it's very good, a very fun read for me. When I get her sentence structure right, because her cadence is written, she writes in a way that's meant to be read aloud almost, but you have to get the cadence right with the sentence structure because some of her sentences are really long. Chapter 4, A Sanctuary of Time. Quote, all we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. End quote. By J.R.R. Tolkien. That's great. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. April sun pools into a dishwater sink, liquid daylight on hands. The water is hot. I wash dishes. On my arms, just below the hiked sleeves, suds leave delicate watermarks. Suds glisten. And over the soaking pots, the soap bubbles stack. This fragile tension arched in spheres of slick, elastic sheets. Light impinges? I don't know that word. On slippery film. Pings? I don't know. And I only notice because I am looking for this, and it's the rays falling, reflecting off the outer surface of a bubble, off the rim of a bubble's inner skin. And where they meet, this interference of light, iridescent on the bubble's arch, violet, magenta, blue-green, yellow-gold, like the glimmer on raven wings, the angles, the hues, the brilliant fluid, light on the waves. I touch wonder, and fragility quivers and bulges, merges, melds, ripens full round, time shimmering clear, and bursts. Science may explain mechanics, but how do the eyes of the soul see? I seize the pen on the sill and I can record another one. With my hand still dribbling dishes, with the breath all caught, I etch it down in that journal always lying out flat. 362. Suds, all color and sun. I lay down the pen, dry my hands on the dish towel, dab at water spots, transfusing into sink. The house is a mess. The pots pile, husks of the lunch labor, bits of potato hardened to counter. Books and pages and paper and pencils and crayons stagger senseless across the study table. Ideas lost and left. Domino tiles hail across the floor. The children have all tumbled out to the air, and the space is wide open. I wash up undone on an island of quiet. The loud and blur of the morning ache across my shoulders. The washing machine works, and the porcelain dove, the one with peace scrolled deep into wing, hangs by one clear thread. From the sink, I can see her spin this way, then that, around and around, and dizzy around. Gotta go, man, but it was good to come by. Magic Shoot, I appreciate you dropping in, dude, even if it was only for a little bit. Always a pleasure to see you. It's been so long. Stop by anytime. Be good to catch up. Maybe we can get some games together. That'd be really cool. After that night of the nightmares, I had said it, that I didn't need more time to do or see or experience anything more. But look at the remains of a morning and it's obvious. I'm craving it deep. More time to manage just the life I already have. The work, the kids, the meals, the laundry, the ministry. A life so full it can seem empty. And then, on top of all that, who has time to take on yet one more thing and keep a gratitude journal? Count gifts. Who has time to tally up 1,000 of them? Can our time crammed lives handle yet one more thing? I drain the sink. Suds, exhausted, the oily scum. I refill. The tap runs fresh water. I watch the stream from the faucet foam up fresh soap. I only see it because I'm looking. 362. Suds, all color and sun. I fill the sink with the circle of bowls, and batter floats up in suds. I wash. I see my reflection in the stainless of the tap. I know you, those seeking eyes. You're the one in dire need of time, those things we can't buy, that thing we can't buy, what we sell of ourselves to get more of what we think we want, what we sacrifice to seemingly gain. They say time is money, but that's not true. Time is life, and if I want the fullest life, I want to find fullest time. I wipe a water spot off the tap. There is a reflection of me. Oh, yes, I know you. The busyness of your life, leaving a little room for the source of your life. I'm the face grieving. God gives us time, and who has time for God? Which makes no sense. In Christ, don't we have everlasting existence? Don't Christians have all the time in eternity, life everlasting? If Christians run out of time, wouldn't we lose our very own existence? If anyone should have time, isn't it the Christ followers? I hold the bowl in hand, taking that knit cloth, and work it around the bowl's lip. I think back, remembering that stark morning in May when I sat with the dead as I do every Tuesday, but that Tuesday I won't forget. While children play keys at the piano teachers, I wait down the street among the tombstones, looking for keys of my own. I sit at cemetery's edge, reading,
And two white-crowned women stand alone by a hole in the ground at the other end of the graveyard. What are they waiting for in shy spring light jackets pulled around tight? A white pickup truck with its dangling hoist backs up to Earth's gaping mouth. A man in green work pants gets out of the pickup, hooks onto concrete box, lowers it into black void, a cradle for the casket. Then a black hearse creeps slowly into the cemetery, slow across grass. Here comes the casket, the remains of the living. I lay aside my book. Is there no preacher coming? Just two elderly ladies and a funeral director with this gravedigger? And one black crow presiding high from the pile of dirt dug up, a shadow ready for the flight. Who awaits in the hearse with only two gathered for the burial? And did he, the deceased, push to get through each day so he'd be first lunging over the finish line? Life done? Did the dashing to grab fistfuls of life fill his emptiness? Fill the emptiness of a coffin? Quote, we are merely moving shadows and all are busy rushing. Quote, we are merely moving shadows and all our busy rushing ends in nothing. Psalm 39:6, end quote. The woman, shoulder to shoulder, brush away flies. And when the funeral director and gravedigger open up the back of the hearse and slide the coffin out, in that stark moment of earth finality, the question once asked of a pastor haunts through the rows of headstones, and I hear it sure again. What was the pastor's most profound regret in life? They carry the wooden box across the graveyard. It's the weight of regrets that weighs a coffin down. And I hear the answer of the pastor ring. Being in a hurry. Getting to the next thing without fully entering the thing in front of me. I cannot think of a single advantage I've ever gained from being in a hurry. But 1,000 broken and missed things, tens of thousands lie in the wake of all the rushing. Through all that haste, I thought I was making up time, but it turns out I was throwing it away. In our rushing, bulls in China's shops, we break our own lives. Haste makes waste. And I had paused before driving out of the cemetery and looked back to the gravedigger and the funeral director walking through headstones, and I hear this too, words of another woman seeking. Quote, on every level of life, from housework to heights of prayer, in all judgment and effort to get things done, hurry and impatience are sure marks of the amateur. End quote. I scrub the bowl hard, try to scrape away the regrets of my life lived amateur. Because this is the way I've lived. From the time the alarm first rings and I stir on our pillows touching, stretch over his bare back and check those relentless hands keeping time on that clock. The time. Always the time. I'm an amateur trying to beat time. The 6 kids rise. We race the barn and hurry the breakfast and hurry the books, the binders, and hurry. It's a world addicted to speed. I blur the moments into one unholy smear. I've done it. I do it still. Hands of the clock whip hard. So I push hard and I bark hard and I fall hard. And when our wide eyes brim sadness and their chins tremble weak, when their wide eyes brim sadness and their chins tremble weak, I am weary. and I am the thin, clear skin reflecting their fatigue about to burst. My eyes glistening, their same sheer pain. The hurry makes us hurt. And maybe it is the hurt that drives us on, or all our frenzied running seemingly toward something. Could it be that we are in fact fleeing, desperate to escape pain that pursues? Whatever the pace, time will keep it, and there is no outrunning it, only speeding it up and pounding the feet harder. The minutes pound faster too. Race for more, and you'll snag on time and leak empty. The longer I keep running, the longer the gash, and I drain, bleed away. Hurry always empties a soul. And it's those 6 souls there I love, those 6 under spruce trees there out my window. 12 arms gathering fallen cones, 12 legs bent. The boy man's arms rake a pile of dead grass. Winters refuse. The tall girl tucks little ones, blowing wisps of blonde under spring hat. 2 little boys bent, tossing cones into pail. Their heads touching in joke, and I see their faces laughter light, their shoulders shaking in fun. And oh, I know that sound, and I smile. The crusted pan that baked the chocolate melt bars slides. The crusted pan that baked the chocolate melt bars slides off the tower of bowls, crashes to the floor. I pick it up and watch it sink into sink. I speak it to God. I don't really want more time. I just want enough time. Time to breathe deep, and time to see real, and time to laugh long. Time to give you glory and rest deep and sing joy, and just enough time in a day not to feel hounded, pressed, driven, or wild to get it all done yesterday. In a world with cows to buy and fields to see and work to do, in the beep and blink of the 21st century, with its, quote, live in the moment, and, quote, buzz phrase that none of the wild weary seem to know how to do, who actually knows how to take time and live with soul and body and God all in sync? To have the time to grab the jacket off the hook, and time to go out to all air and sky and green, and time to wander at all of them in all this light, and this time refracting in prism. I just want time to do my one life well. A soap bubble bursts next to my skin. A soap bubble, skin of light and water and space suspended in sphere. Who has time for that? Hadn't I? Only because I was looking. Because the list of 1,000 gifts has me always on the hunt for one more, and one more to behold one more moment, pregnant with wonder. Wonder right in the middle of the sink, looking for it like this. I lay the palm under water, and I raise my hand with the membrane of a lifespan of moments. In the light, the sheerness of bubble shimmers, bands of garnet, cobalt, flowing luminous. I see through to the pattern. I see the way my life, vapor, is shaping. I hadn't noticed. It's 362. Number 362 suds, all color in sun. That's my answer to time. Time is a relentless river. It rages on, and a respecter of no one. And this is the only way to slow time. When I fully enter time's swift current, enter into the current movement with the weight of all my attention, I slow the torrent with the weight of me all here. I can slow the torrent by being all here. I only live the full life when I live fully in the moment. And when I'm always looking for the next glimpse of glory, I slow and enter, and time slows. Weigh down the moment in time with attention full, and the whole of time's river slows, slows, slows. The bubble in my hand quavers, a rainbow at fringes. A blind eye sees. It's this sleuthing for the glory that slows a life gloriously. It's plain, bubble straight through. Giving thanks for 1,000 things is ultimately an invitation to slow down time with weight of full attention. In this space of time and sphere, I am attentive, aware, accepting the whole of the moment, weighing it down with me, all here. I tilt my hand more to the light, and the wave frequencies reinforce on Bubble's dome, and color bands deepen. Fire blue swirling flame into lurid scarlet. A kaleidoscope planet. Full attention fills the empty ache. Is this Eucharistio the way to that elusive, fullest life, the one that lives in the moment? What my sister urges when I get angsty and knotted about tomorrow, when I sorrow for what is gone, her words always tugging me to stay right here. Quote, wherever you are, be all there, end quote. I have lived the runner, painting ahead in worry, pounding back in regrets, terrified to live in the present. Because here, time asks me to do the hardest of all, just open wide and receive. Light on soap film, its energy traveling, reflection, refraction on a wall a few millionths of an inch thick. Light waves permeate and collide, crest to crest, and crest to trough. Yellow marbleizes into indigo dark. I do see this. I hold it. This is where God is. In the present, I am his very name. I want to take shoes off. I am. So full of the weight of the present that time's river slows to a still, and God himself is timeless. The bubble trembles slightly, or is it my hand? It's not the gifts that fulfill, but the holiness of the space, the God in it. Far curvature of the bubble eddies, violet sliding down. This is supreme gift, time. God himself, framed in a moment. I hardly breathe, and time is only of the essence, because time is the essence of God. I am. This I need to consecrate. Time. I may never wear shoes again. The bubble arches into the dome of a cathedral. There, what am I to do? Make every moment a cathedral giving glory? I am Jacob, and the Lord is in this place, and I am not aware of it. Genesis 28:16. And it is Eucharistio, carving the moment into a capella of grace, an architecture of holiness, a place for God. Thanks making now a sanctuary. And I take my vows, I will not desecrate this moment with ignorant hurry or sordid ingratitude. I will be Jacob, and I will name this moment the house of God. Genesis 28:19. Crystalline orb gleams in the light of the window. The clock ticks slow. I hear it for what it is, good and holy. Time, what God first deemed holy above all else. Genesis 2:3. Thank God for the time, and very God enters that time, presence hallowing it. True, this full attention slows time, and I live the full of the moment, right to outer edges. But there's more. I awake to I am here. When I'm present, I meet I am, the very presence of a present God. In his embrace, time loses all sense of speed and stress and space and stands so still and holy. Here is the only place I can love him. The bubble glints luster, pearl, pride from the oyster. I hold it as long as it has life, then I wipe slow the wet hands, grab my journal and put pen to paper, plunging pole into terra firma, new territory claimed, and the banner flaps wild in wind. Here is the only place I can love him. I have time for God. 363. Rays, reflecting hues off translucent globes. 364. Sound of spruce cones thumping buckets with spring. 365. Cackles of crows high in the limbs, iridescence on wings. I am a hunter of beauty, and I move slow, and I keep the eyes wide. Every fiber of every muscle sensing all wonder, and this is the thrill of the hunt. I could be an expert on the life full, the beauty meat that lurks in every moment. I hunger to taste life. God. I probably forgot to change the channel here. Hold on a second. Got to change one thing before we finish reading this. I always forget. Oh, good. It was disabled this time. I can't ever remember to go back and forth between mature content and not mature content. I don't want it to be on mature when I'm reading this because it's definitely not mature content. I think everybody should be able to listen to this and hear this. I cut squares of chocolate melt bars in half, and the knife slides clean straight through. A ladybug walks the windowsill. Springs stroll all in parade of red and black dots. Her black parts into wing, then shies. I jot her down. 366. I slow time. It's ridiculous how much joy a moment can hold. Dishes soak. The clock ticks. And I hear it like a song in easy time. I lick the chocolate off fingertips and swallow sweet down, and I try to open it up all the way wide. Why is Eucharistio the answer to the time starved and soul famished? I haul out a stack of white china dishes, one dessert square for each china plate. Count again. Slow. Is there enough? Like the God-man counting his too few loaves and not enough fishes, the one I remember from felt boards and figures pressed out smooth, where, quote, Jesus then took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed to those who were seated as much as they wanted. John, end quote, John 6:11, NIV. Give thanks. He'd done it there too. Again? I'd missed it and all of my life. I'd never considered those two words, the bridge words there in the middle. The crossing over that took the not enough and made it enough, excuse me. The crossing over that took the not enough and made it enough. Give thanks. Eucharistio. Jesus embraces his not enough. He gives thanks. And there is more than enough. More than enough. Eucharistio always precedes the miracle. And who doesn't need a miracle like that every day? Thanksgiving takes time. Really? Give thanks and get time. Give thanks. Slow time down with all your attention, and your basket of not enough time multiplies into more than enough time. I have extra squares. I bank them along the rim of the plate and realize for the first time what has never been the problem of my life. The real problem of life is never a lack of time. The real problem of life in my life is lack of thanksgiving. Thanksgiving creates abundance. Thanksgiving creates abundance, and the miracle of multiplying happens when I give thanks. Take the just one loaf, say it is enough, and give thanks. And he miraculously makes it more than enough. I have beheld suds and sun, and I have known miracles like that. I am a mother tired. But when my soul doth magnify, my time doth magnify. I look out to the 6 I carried on the hip and in the heart, and need all the hours for. And 362, number 362 in all the Eucharistio that came before, tell me this. I redeem time from neglect and apathy and inattentiveness when I swell with thanks and weigh the moment down, and it's giving thanks to God for this moment that multiplies the moments. Time made enough. I am thankful. I am time full. Leaning, light out the door, iron dinner bell in hand, I ring. And it's gratitude that invites me to the here grandeur, to the embrace of I am, to come multiply my little time into enough time, and the glory of now I ring for children to come. Come. The table is set. There is enough and more than. Though I'd be tried and sore tested. They cramp in loud and fling themselves out of their coats like cicadas splitting skins, leave boots a trail of droppings. The tall girl lets the door swing loose, and it slams the fingertips of little one, and she yelps a pain dance of salty tears. In the tussle out of a stubborn sleeve, a big brother swipes hard the head of a little brother, and a small son wails the mad fists, and there are coats and boots, and still all the dominoes and dishes, and who has time for all this more? More work, more stuff, more stress. I can feel my pulse quicken fierce. Entering fully into the moment can overwhelm a river running wild. I will forget and again, but today I do remember. I breathe and I feel and I reel. I breathe and I reel and I hold my ground and my tongue in this torrent coming down. I've staked my claim to the middle. I know the way to the promised land. I do what I always need to do. I preach it. I preach it to the person I need to preach to the most. I preach to me. The skin's tugged hard by the rush of time, and I say it loud in current pounding past, words I need like water. Calm. Haste makes waste. Life is not an emergency. Life is brief, and it is fleeting, but it is not an emergency. I pick up a coat and thank God for the arms that can do it. Emergencies are sudden, unexpected events. But is anything under the sun unexpected to God? I call a son back and hand him a hanger and thank God that he can do this too. Stay calm. Enter the moment. Give thanks. I thank God for boots, and we line them straight, and little hands help. And I can always give thanks because an all powerful God always has all these things, all things, always under control. I breathe deep, and he preaches to me, soothing the time frenzied soul with the grace river in whisper. Life is not an emergency. Life is Eucharistio. Eucharistio. I, too, soothe the cheek of the mad-fisted child. I give thanks to that one curl that always lies on his forehead, beckoning invitation, and him hold close in the arms. I know it. That life is so urgent, it necessitates living slow. It's only the amateurs, and that I have been, and it's been ugly, who think slow and urgent are contradictory, opposite poles. He lays his head on my shoulder. I stroke his hair, wind my finger around that curl. I can feel the heat of his cheeks. I can feel time's current in my blood ease, meander. Is this what the life experts know? That in Christ urgent means slow. That in Christ the most urgent necessitates a slow and steady reverence. For a moment longer I hold sun and life, and I hold it mindfully, attentively, thankfully. Life at its fullest is this sensitive, detonating sphere, and it can be carried only in the hands of the unhurried and reverential. A bubble held in awe. I carry the small sun boy to the table. Trying hard to get through this chapter, guys. Not trying to rush too much. I've got just a couple pages left. I think we're going to make it. When those hungry eyes and empty tummies circle round the table, smiles big just like their daddy's when he's eyeing something good heaping high on a platter, they are all story and loud talk and hardly able to restrain the waiting for the nod, and I grin it too. You may. They dive. I watch them feast. They quiet. Taste buds savor it long. It's that same recipe my mama baked up when I was a kid. Cow licks sliding up the front of my hair, just like theirs. The boy man mumbles, his mouth sticky full. I'm not eating mine fast. His tongue licks chocolate off lip. Want to taste it all? Oh. When I was your age, I used to just scarf my food down. I pull back one of the paint-flecked, spindled chairs, one of the worn ones that used to sit around the walls of the community center during old-time Saturday night dances. It only wobbles a little bit. Quote, My Grandma Ruth would shake her head, disgusted at me, like this. And I show them, and I wag my finger too. Just the way she did, and they grin chocolate. She'd say, My lands, child, that is no way to eat. It took time. Oh, yeah, she's still talking. Okay. She'd say, My lands, child, that is no way to eat. It took time to make this meal, and you'd better take some time to taste it. Slow down like so. Then she'd chew slow and deliberate like, and tell me again so I'd remember. Food is meant to be savored. The tall girl's jaw slows. I wink. She smiles, brushes her lip with her finger. Pork chops, potatoes, peas, it was all just food to me. I hand down the plate with extras for the boys looking eager. They kneel up on chairs to eye out that one square that's just a smidge bigger. But Grandma's apple pie, her butterscotch squares, she didn't have to tell me to slow down then. A boy takes a big bite, too big, smiles knowingly. I look around at their faces, their taste buds all alive, eyes shining delight in the sweet. When did I stop thinking life was dessert? I push back from the table, push away from regrets. They need something to drink. I clatter out the stainless steel glasses, pour out the cold milk, and think of the strangers walking briskly, blithely along to Emmaus. Emmaus? Oblivious to the godskin before their eyes. Only in the slowing, the sitting down at the table, when his hands held the bread and the thanks fell from his tongue, do the open-eyed, the wide-eyed see the face they face. Luke 24:13-35. The fast have spiritually slow hearts. I carry the cups back to the table. My drained, empty body has stopped and my soul has caught up, and if I give thanks here, whom might I recognize? I pass 2 cups down to the end of the table. It takes a full 20 minutes after your stomach is full for your brain to register being satiated. Satiation. I cannot say that word right now. How long does it take your soul to realize when your life is full? The slower the living, the greater the sense of fullness, satisfaction. The body and soul can synchronize. The moment I enter, racing time tempers, and the neurons brand into memory. The tall girl collecting crumbs on the end of a fingertip, the light reflecting off the curve of her skin, the near man-sized hands grabbing glass, swigging down milk, hands that once clenched my finger in first life. Small son lisping out a joke in all their happy banter. This taste of chocolate and children, and I don't reach forward and I don't reach back, and I weigh the moment down with full attention. Here, life is dessert, too brief to hurry. You don't wolf it down. The little one's tongue searches about for smudges of chocolate she can feel on her cheek. More milk? She nods, eyes large, laughing. Yes. I pour more, and I have an appetite to celebrate. Yes, let us eat cake and nibble on bare toes, to pick armfuls of poppies, to hold a heart up against me, stronger, sure, to sit long with my mama in the last of the afternoon light. Wherever you are, be all there. Is this possible in the posture of Eucharistio? I want to slow down and taste life. Give thanks and see God. There are 4 appointments scratched on the calendar this week and 2 evening meetings slotted, and all 6 kids have swimming lessons, and there are piano recitals and exams looming at week's end and days flood torrential, but full attention slows the current. Don't I always have the choice to be fully attentive? Simplicity is ultimately a matter of focus. Eucharistio. Eucharistio. That keeps the focus simple, sacred. I watch the hands move grace on the clock face. I'm growing older. These children growing up. But time is not running out. This day is not a sieve, losing time. With each passing minute, each passing year, there's this deepening awareness that I am filling, gaining time. We stand on the brink of eternity. The small son pauses between bites, wiggles his tooth with the lip of his tongue. I watch him and I smile. He sees me watching and he grins. He takes the last bite of chocolate melt, and with mouth still full of gooey good, he serenades soft. I love you, Mom, and all this. And all this. This cathedral moment. This God, this time before it bursts. All this. I am Jacob, and this moment is the house of God, and I reach for the plate. I want to savor long, whatever time holds. That would be chapters 3 and 4, my friends. With 5 minutes to spare, I'm going to pull up the clarity chart. For anyone still lingering around, I really do appreciate everybody that stopped by for me reading this. I love doing this. We're going to read chapters 5 and 6 next Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Encourage you to be here for that live if you'd like. Otherwise, of course, you can always try to catch it on YouTube or here on Twitch as a recap. If you haven't already been by the Discord, though, we do have a little exercise that I like to do. Let me get this pulled up here and we'll get it opened. But every Sunday, I encourage you to do this. This is an activity that I started doing. Yo, you too, Lieutenant Dan. I appreciate you, man. I really do. Appreciate you being here, being a part of it. Dude, I had chills. MK, thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. If I could find this clarity chart. Anyways, it is in the Discord, guys. I've got it here from the Discord, but every time I click it on the Discord, it just re-downloads. I gotta save this to my desktop. Make this so much easier. Did I not have this saved to my desktop? I thought I did. Got so many things open right now. Okay. Let me find this real quick, guys. 1 second. I want to go through this. It's part of a commitment I made. I want you guys to be encouraged to do this every week. And for some reason, it is not showing up in my... Where did this go? I moved some stuff around, and I'm not seeing it. I will find it. Give me a moment. It is just a matter of time. Time. All time. It's all about time. As a matter of fact, I actually do remember where this is. If I can get this folder open. There it is. Clarity chart. Here we go, guys. Thanks for the stream, Studa. Appreciate you being here. Thank you, Studa, for being a part of this. I hope you found some benefit to you, that it brought some element of joy to your life, something for you to think about, something for you to consider, something for you to grow in. Yes, thank you, Scouse Girl. It is in Smile Zone. Thank you for helping me finish my sentence while I was trying to finish finding this. Real quick here, though, before I wrap up the stream, we've got 2 minutes. Clarity chart. Go through this with the 4 futures that you need to be focused on with intention daily and weekly. Starting off today, focus on your week for the next week ahead of you, the first full week of 2021. 3 words that describe my best self are, fill out the blank. Actually, the actual chart's here. We'll just do the chart since we're low on time. The clarity chart. Self. 3 words that I'm going to live and exemplify this week. Write them down. Social. 3 words that define how I'll treat people this week. Write them down. So you're living with intention, being fully present in the moment. Skills. What are the 5 skills that you're working on this week? Not just, in the grand scheme of things. What are you working on with intention, clearly, this week? 5 of them. Service. And this is the most important one to me. How I'll add value to those around me, right? A few different ways that you'll add value to those around you. Then I want you to, according to these instructions with Brennan Bouchard, stick with us for this week, for this 12 weeks that we're doing it. We're in the 10th week, I believe. The main feeling that I want to cultivate in my life, relationships, and work this week include peace, joy, happiness, whatever the case may be. And the way that I'm going to generate these feelings is to write it out, come up with a plan, live out that plan, and then you need to define what's meaningful. Something that you can do or create that would bring you more meaning in your life. All right, guys, I appreciate every single one of you. You guys are all absolute legends. You're not doing it, that's totally okay. You don't have to do it. Nobody has to do it. but I do encourage you to work your way through it. It is a 12. I wanted to encourage you guys to do it for at least 12 weeks, and then we're going to circle back and see how it affected everybody. But it's just a personal challenge. Nobody has to do it. So it's totally fine. But I will see you guys here back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Central. Make a quick announcement here. You're not going to see me online gaming as much after today. I'm going to spend some time with Marcus. I'll be on Fortnite a little bit today. Might play some other games later. But apart from that today, that kind of last experience with school going back into session, getting back into normal life, if you will, starting next week, starting Monday. Pretty much it's going to be gaming when I'm streaming. There'll be some very rare exceptions when I'm spending time with Marcus. If you are lucky enough to get an invite during that time, be grateful. But more often than not, yes, of course, Fork and Knife. Absolutely, Lieutenant Dan. More often than not, the gaming times that you're going to see me or see me online even playing games is when I'm live streaming. So everybody can be a part of that and it'll be awesome. 9 p.m. tomorrow will be more Fork and Knife. Tuesday, talk about it Tuesday. We'll play some marbles on stream, have a good time there. Wednesdays, we'll do Whacking Wednesdays. And we're going to do some zombie slaying shenanigans. Thursdays are back off the menu. We're taking Thursdays off again. Fridays, Fortnite Fridays, same as always, off on Saturdays. And then we'll be doing the Sunday streams from 1 to 3 o'clock. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday night, and then Sunday afternoon. All right? Appreciate you guys. Keep it real and keep it classy. Go out there and live your fullest and best life. Don't ever forget how much you are loved. If you ever need somebody to talk to, come by the Discord. It might be me. It might be somebody else, but we'll try to help any way that we can. With the OG crew, you betcha. Lieutenant Dan, you betcha. Keep it awesome, guys. Make this a great week. You have the power to live with intention. Do so. Live fully present in the moment. You got this. See you guys tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Peace.